Plumbers, you know, making $250,000 a year. I have a different set of priorities. I'll give a middle-class tax cut to 95% of all work. And let me be clear. Let me just see a show of hands. How many people are making more than $250,000 a year?
Not me!
How many people are making less than $250,000 a year? If you make less than $250,000 a year, which includes 98% of small business owners, you won't see your taxes increase one single dime. Not your payroll taxes, not your income taxes, not your capital gains taxes, nothing. In an economy like this, the last thing we should do is raise taxes on the middle class.
That's right.
That's right.
And that's why I'm providing tax cuts
Yeah.
for 95% of working families.
Yeah.
And to the small business owner that's been working hard and saving, what I say to them is, I want you to succeed.
Yeah.
And if you are just barely making a little bit over $250,000 now and you've got a payroll, I'm going to give you a tax credit to help provide health care for your employees. And we are going to exempt you from capital gains tax. And by the way, you would have saved sooner to get to the point where you were making $250,000 if you had been under my tax plan and gotten an earlier tax cut, instead of following the George Bush, John McCain agenda, which rewards those at the top instead of looking out for working Americans. We know that it's time to create the good-paying jobs of tomorrow. That's why I'm going to stop giving tax breaks to companies that ship jobs overseas and start rebuilding the middle class by helping companies create jobs here in America. If I'm president, we will invest $15 billion a year in renewable sources of energy to create 5 million new green jobs over the next decade. We'll open up that old factory, that old mill that closed down to build a wind turbine, to build solar panels. Create 5 million new jobs that can be outsourced and pay well, and we are going to create the fuel-efficient cars of the future right here in the United States. Jobs that will help us end our dependence on oil from Middle East dictators. I'll also put 2 million more Americans to work rebuilding our infrastructure, not just our roads and our bridges, but laying broadband lines in rural communities. Creating the new electricity grid that we need for the 21st century. And if people ask how we're going to pay for it, you just tell them, if we can spend $10 billion a month in Iraq, we can spend some money to rebuild America. I'll finally fix our broken healthcare system. This issue is personal for me. My mother died of ovarian cancer at the age of 53. I'll never forget how she spent the final months of her life lying in a hospital bed, fighting with her insurance company because they claimed that her cancer was a pre-existing condition. They didn't want to pay for her treatment. So I know what it's like to see a loved one suffer, not just because they're sick, but because of a broken healthcare system. It is wrong. That's why we will not have insurance companies discriminating against people who are sick and need care when I am President of the United States. John McCain kept on trying to suggest that I was proposing some government takeover of health care. He wasn't paying attention to my health care plan. So let me describe it one more time. If you have health insurance, the only thing that will change under my plan is that we will lower premiums. If you don't have health insurance, you'll be able to get the same kind of health insurance that members of Congress get for themselves.
Yeah.
Seems fair to me. If it's good enough for John McCain and good enough for Barack Obama, it's probably good enough for you. We'll invest in preventive care and new technology to finally lower costs of health care for families and businesses and the entire economy. That's the change we need. Medicare we're going to fix, but the only way to fix Medicare is to fix the healthcare system as a whole. Because if the healthcare system is broken, then Medicare is going to blow up sooner or later, because we can't sustain healthcare costs going up that fast. That's why we've got to invest in prevention. That's why people have to be healthy. That's why we've got to invest in information technology, eliminate bureaucracy, cut red tape. But you know what we're not going to do is do what John McCain suggests, which is to take $1.3 billion out of the Medicare budget to pay for his health care plan that's not going to work. That's not the right way to go about health care. We will give every child, everywhere, the skills and knowledge they need to compete with any worker anywhere in the world. I will not allow other countries to out-teach us today so they can out-compete us tomorrow. It is time to provide every American with a world-class education. And that means investing in early childhood education, recruiting an army of new teachers, paying them more money, giving them more support, and it means making a deal with every young American who has the drive and the will and not the money to go to college. Senator Kane's economic advisor said the other day they have no plans to invest in college affordability because we can't have a giveaway to every special interest. I don't think the young people of America are a special interest. They're the future of this country. Who are here today and the young people all across America. If you commit to serving your community or your country, we will make sure you can afford your tuition. No ifs, ands, or buts. We will give you the money. Finally, I'll take on the corruption in Washington and on Wall Street. Make sure a crisis like this never, ever happens again. Put in place the common sense regulations, the rules of the road that I've been calling for since March. Rules that will keep our markets free and fair and honest. Rules that will restore accountability and responsibility in our corporate boardrooms. And just as we demand accountability on Wall Street, I'm going to demand it in Washington. And that's why in New Hampshire, I want you to understand, because folks in New Hampshire, they understand something about tightening belts when you have to. That's what families do. The government needs to do the same thing. That's why I'm not going to stand here and simply tell you what I'm going to spend. I'm going to tell you where we're going to save. I'll do what you do in your own family budgets. You've got to spend our money wisely. I will go through the entire federal budget, page by page, line by line, and we will eliminate programs that don't work and aren't needed. And we'll start by ending that war in Iraq that's cost us. By cutting waste and improving management and strengthening oversight. These are the changes and reforms, New Hampshire, that we need. A new era of responsibility and accountability. On Wall Street and in Washington. Common sense regulations to prevent crises like this from ever happening again. Investments in technology and innovation that will restore prosperity and lead to new jobs and a new economy for the 21st century. Bottom-up economic growth. It gives every American a fair shot at the American dream.